I thought I'd like to take a Zen master's life, say a few words. So usually I don't talk on the Zen masters, but anyhow, I will talk about Rinzai, Master Rinzai. Japanese pronunciation is Rinzai, Chinese is Linshi and so on. Chinese names are rather difficult. Japanese names are easier to pronounce. Rinzai belongs to the 9th century. Yesterday I said 6th century, perhaps Bodhidharma went to China and taught this form of meditation. From 7th to 10th centuries, they called Tang period. That was one sort of rulers came. That is Zen great masters came. And then next period, Sung period, also about 300 to 400 years, that also was a flourishing period then. But the Tang period was a great masters. In the Sung period, also there were some masters, but primarily the Sung period they wrote about their lives and the teachings and so on. And in Japan, the Rinzai came around the 12th century, and it was taken by the samurai warrior class, and so they were studying Rinzai Zen. Soto Zen with the Dogen came around the 13th century, and so in Japan it's very much what you call sectarian or separation, Rinzai and Soto. Modern times they are trying to bring together, but so far Rinzai and Soto are sort of very different. As I mentioned, Soto approach is just to sit, Shikandasa. Rinzai approach, koan practice. And so here in China too there was sort of division, but it was not so pronounced. But now at present in China, there is no difference, Soto, Rinzai and all those things. Actually, Zen has become rather Pure Land Buddhism, very much mixed. That means devotion, sutra chanting, devotions and so on. So Rinzai master, I just briefly say about his life. Rinzai, more or less contemporary with Joshu. Joshu, another great master. But Rinzai she lived only maybe 50-55 years, whereas Joshu lived for 120 years, and so double the age. And so very strange. Usually Zen masters live long, but Rinzai died in the middle of his 50s. Rinzai practiced with the Obaku. So Obaku was here, it seems, for 3 years. He didn't go for Doksan at all. And so he just, in those days, I suppose Doksan was not common. They didn't go so often. And so 3 years he didn't go for Doksan. And the senior monk, leading monk, asked him, why have you not gone for Doksan? The story goes, Rinzai said, I don't know what to ask, what to say, and I am afraid. He said, ask about the meaning of Buddhism. So Rinzai went to Obaku, asked, what is the meaning of Buddhism? And Obaku beat him up, threw him out. And then maybe I made a mistake, let me go once again. When second time, the same happened. He beat him up, threw him out. Third time, again he went, last time, so he went, and again Obaku beat him and threw him out. And then he came and told the senior monk, the leading monk, you see, the master beats me up all the time. I can't stay here. I think I'm fit. I'm not fit to practice. I am going away. He said, no, wait, you should not go away like this. You must say goodbye to the master and go. Wait, and we will see. And then the senior monk went to Obaku, the master, and said, this fellow is a very gifted fellow. You are treating him like that. And Obaku told the senior monk, it's all right, ask him to come. So Rinzai went and then said, I am leaving. He said, don't leave like that. There is another master, Dayu. Go to him. He will help you. Dayu, we don't know about his history. He seems to be an obscure master. So he went to Dayu. And the Dayu asked him, what happened? And he told the story, how Rinzai did like that and so on. Dayu said, what a grandmotherly compassion Obaku had. You stupid fellow, you didn't even understand. And just saying that was all. Rinzai was deeply enlightened. Was suddenly open, his eyes opened. Oh my, he was deeply awakened. And then he said, and all the stories comes here in this Rinzai Roku. And so he said, oh, now I realize Obaku's Zen is nothing, it's useless Zen. And Dayu got angry. He said, what, you bedwetting wimp. And you talk like that. And so you must go back and so on. And Rinzai gave him a hit. Oh my, get out, so go away to your master, don't stay with me. And so Rinzai came back to Obaku. And Obaku said, what is this fellow coming and going all the time? What has happened? And then he asked him, what happened? Yes, what happened there? And then he told him how Dayu said like that and he got awakened. And then he gave him a beating also. And Obaku said, that useless fellow, let him come, I will give him good beating. And Rinzai said, why you wait? I give you. He beat him up, Obaku. Obaku said, oh my, this fellow, this is a mad fellow. And so he called the assistant, take him to the Zendo, he's a mad fellow. That was all. Rinzai was awakened. He changed. He completely changed. One or two stories I just read, Yeah. Once, and then of course, Rinzai and Obaku were very close. Obaku realized Rinzai is a very gifted fellow and he is a deeply enlightened fellow. He stayed for some years with Obaku. Once some of the stories. Once the master's hall, the meditation hall, Rinzai was sleeping in the meditation, and Obaku came and just tapped him, and then he just raised his head to Rinzai, and then went back again sleeping. Obaku walked, and the senior monk was very seriously meditating, and then he said, that young monk in that hall is meditating very well. What are you doing? Daydreaming. And the head monk said, oh my, this old master, what is he up to? So that was the sort of thing. And then, let me see another small story, interesting story. And then when Rinzai was about to die, he was on deathbed actually. And he appointed only one successor, Sancho. And the story goes, let me see, yes. After I am gone, you must not destroy my true dharma. Sancho said, who would dare to destroy the master's true dharma? The master Rinzai said, afterward, if someone should ask you about it, what would you say to that person? Sancho gave a shout. The master said, Rinzai said, who knows my true dharma? I may be destroyed by this blind donkey. And then after finishing this, he died. That was a transmission. sort of ironically, as he putting him down, he gives a transmission. And the Sancho, there are many stories also. He goes with different masters. And so, that is very briefly, let me say, his teaching. Rinzai's teaching, his students took down very often his writings. And then later on, somebody compiled, actually Sancho, they'd say, compiled his teachings. Very strange, not many masters gave long talks. Rinzai seems to have given long talks. And so I just read a few sentences. They're very interesting. The master means here Rinzai. Master ascended the hall and said, here in this lump of red flesh there is a true man with no rank. Constantly he goes in and out of the gates of your face. If there are any of you who don't know this for a fact, then look. He very much talked about the true man of no rank. No rank means is beyond all ranks. Ordinary fellow. True man. And realize you are true man. That was, all the time he used that. It is like similar to original face. That's all, you see. True man or true self. Realize that. At that time, there was a monk who came forward. What is he like? The true man with no rank. Master came down from his chair, seized hold of the monk and said, speak. The monk was about to say something, whereupon the master let him go off, showed him away and said, this true man of no rank, what a shitty ass viper. And then he just went away. That's all. His talk was only that. But he gives also long talks. Let me say some other talks, you see. And then he mentioned very much about faith. You must have faith in yourself. Only when you have faith, strong faith, without doubts, you can be stand on your own feet, be true to yourself. Very much he talked about faith. So I need not talk about that very much. You can read so much, you see. I just take 2 or 3 sentences, let me say. Seeking Buddha, seeking Dharma, that is just creating karma that leads to hell. Seeking the Bodhisattvas, that too is creating karma. Studying sutras, studying doctrines, that too is creating karma. The Buddhas and patriarchs are people who don't have anything to do. Hence, whether they have defilements or doings or are without defilements or doings, their karma is clean and pure. What he is saying is, don't simply study like that. So, there are a bunch of blind bald heads who having stuffed themselves with rice, sit doing chant-style meditation practice, trying to arrest the flow of thoughts and stop them from arising, hating clamor, demanding silence. But these are not Buddhist ways. And so on, you see. This person who is right now listening to the Dharma here, how would you try to practice? He is not that sort of fellow who can be expected to carry out practice, not the sort who can be adorned. If you want to adorn him, you adorn him with everything that exists. Make no mistake, and so on, you see. That simply means don't be caught by Buddhas, patriarchs, sutras and so on. And he was very, very radical. See, and the three vehicles, Buddhism talks about three vehicles, Mahayana, Hinayana and all those things, and then three bodies and so on. Three vehicles, 12 division of the scriptural teachings. They are all so much old toilet paper to wipe away the shit. Buddha is phantom body. Patriarchs are nothing but old monks and so on, you see. If you seek the Buddha, you will be seized by the Buddha devil. If you seek the patriarchs, you will be fettered by the patriarch devil. As long as you seek something, it only leads you to suffering. Better to do nothing. There are a bunch of bald-headed monks who tell students of the way that the Buddha represents the ultimate goal and that one must spend 3 asankhya kalpas carrying out and fulfilling all the religious practices before one can gain complete understanding of the way. Followers of the way, if you say that the Buddha represents the ultimate goal, then why after living just 80 years did the Buddha lie down in the grove of salt tree in the city of Kushinagara and die? Where is the Buddha now? And so on, you see. And a true student of the way never concerns himself with the Buddha, never concerns himself with the Bodhisattvas or Arhats, never concerns himself with the blessings of the threefold world. Far removed, alone and free, is never entangled in things, and so on. And there is another famous phrase, he is fond of facing that, so very often is quoted. If you meet the Buddha, kill the Buddha. If you meet a patriarch, kill the patriarch. If you meet an arhat, kill the arhat. If you meet your parents, kill your parents. If you meet your kinsfolk, kill your kinsfolk. And so on. You see, what do you mean, does he mean kill? It's not a physical killing. Be detached. You see, let go everything. Jesus also said, if you follow me, you must hate your father, mother, and so on, you see. So this is also hyperbolic, sort of exaggerated phraseology. It simply means, kill means let go. Particularly if we meet the Buddha, that means images, ideas, fantasies, they are not real Buddhas. Throw them out, all those things. I tell you, there is no Buddha, no Dharma, no practice, no enlightenment. Yet you go off like this on side roads trying to find something. Blind fools, will you put another hat on the top of the one you have? What is it you lack? And so on. And there is, the way I see it, there is no call for anything special. Just act ordinary. Put on your clothes, eat your rice, pass the time doing nothing. You who come from here and there, you all have mind to do something. You search for Buddha, search for the Dharma, search for the emancipation, search for a way to get out of the threefold world. Idiots, trying to get out of the threefold world, where will you go? And so on. And then he will talk about, of course, he will talk about what is the meaning of three worlds, three bodies. All those things. He will talk about how sort of it is your own self, your own passions, your own sort of emotions. They all comprise the three realms and the Buddhas and so on. And so on, so on. He talks very much. I need not to talk all those things. Let me say 1 or 2 points. Okay, you can read these things if you want. But the first, 3 or 4 parts it is given. Some events, and then teachings, and then how Rinzai got awakened and so on. Let me say a few words in general. Do you think Rinzai talks radically? No Buddha, no enlightenment, no practice, no sutra reading, all those things. Do you think he really practiced all that? He was leading a community. He was sort of teaching students, helping them to awaken, and the community was reciting sutras and doing all those things, you see, as an ordinary sort of practice. So don't think that he negated all those things. You must understand properly what the sort of radical teaching is. There were Zen masters like Ikkyu in Japan, Rinzai in this, and many others were very radical. They were iconoclastic, so to say. Even Basho was very radical. Nothing, you see, no more sutras, no more Buddhas, nothing, no enlightenment. They talk like that. But you must understand also this talk. You should not take literally. If you take literally, you will be really idiot, you see. So don't take literally. And so try to understand the meaning, you see. What do they talk about that? And so without taking literally, you must find the meaning of what it says. There are, in our practice, particularly about religious practice or spiritual practice, there are not brute facts. It is all meaning. You must find the meaning of things. Even the Viktor Frankl, it was a survivor in the concentration camp. He has written a book, small book, long ago, Man's Search for the Meaning, you see. And he talks, if you got a meaning, only then you can survive. In the concentration camp, he says, he and some had a meaning for survival. When you don't have a meaning, you just die, that's all. And so it's not only survival, meaning only can give you life. What is the meaning of the practice? What is the meaning of the Buddha? What is the meaning of God? What is the meaning of religious practice? You are making a prostrations. What is the meaning? You must see the meaning. Otherwise you are stupid, simply literally taking this is absolute truth. When you take literally, it's a fundamentalism and you will be lost. So don't take literally. All the dogmas, for example, dogmas, doctrines, every religion has. Maybe Christianity has more, Hinduism also has, Buddhism has. Don't take dogmas, doctrines as literal truths. Find the meaning. They are symbols. They are all symbols. Find the meaning. What did they point out to you? And so we have to find the meaning. And then there is also meaning, collective, cultural meaning is there, you see. And also personally, individually, you have to find the meaning. See, you will not be simply repeating what culturally or collectively the given meaning is there. You will find your own meaning. Of course, it's not apart from the collective meaning, cultural, collective meaning, religion, but you have to, in sort of relationship to that, find your own practice, your own meaning. What is the meaning? For me, this. And of course, you will not come immediately to the meaning. Your lifelong project, you will go on learning, you see. And so, you must try to do this practice. I was, in Japan. I visited a Rinzai Zen master with a Japanese sister. And the Japanese sister had a cancer. She died some years back. And when I visited, he knew, of course, Christianity and so on. He made a deep bow to the sister and he said, "Sister, you Christians don't have enlightenment. We Zen people have enlightenment. But we Zen people talk about compassion, but we don't practice compassion. You, religious and Christians, practice compassion. And so enlightenment, compassion must go together. We must bring them together, he said. Very nicely put. And so about enlightenment, you see, compassion, that is the most important in our life. Don't forget that, you see. And so, the Rinzai, for example, he is sort of very radical, but radical in the sense, he tries to help his students. See, it's not simply in arrogance or simply going away. He wants to help the students find their true selves, you see. That is all his concern. And so, we must, actually, Buddha, it is said, for him, all embracing compassion was equal to enlightenment for the Buddha, you see. But still in Zen practice, enlightenment, compassion, they are little different, you see. And of course, when you are enlightened, you must be compassionate. And compassion, you must have also enlightenment. But very often, people, so-called, enlightened people, don't have much compassion, as his master said. But also, you must awaken to yourself, you see. You see, awakening, yesterday I mentioned, but also let me mention, see, awakening is sort of, let me say, sort of, metaphorically, we live in a sort of two levels, in a sort of metaphorically, you see. Don't take also literally, two levels. We have got body, mind, and all those things. On the another side, we cannot grasp it. But at the same time, we have got another side, two levels, or two dimensions, we should say. But sometimes people, very often some other spiritualities take, only our spirit, our sort of true self, so-called true self, to be true, authentic, and the body, mind, and the world, sort of illusions. It's wrong, you see. We are one self, and one self with the two dimensions. One side, we have got a body, mind, emotions, all those things. Other side, there is another side to us. We can't grasp it. Usually, Zen calls it emptiness self. And so you must become aware of that. Emptiness self means your self is an openness to all the world, openness to all beings. So you move on both the dimensions, but you are one self, don't forget that. So you got only two dimensions. And in Zen talks only about the present life. In the present life, you are moving on both the dimensions. You are this life and that. And that dimension, when you are awakened, you will come to peace, you will sort of find inner freedom, you will learn to live well. You see, of course, most people don't get awakened to this dimension. They will talk about spiritual dimension or religious dimension, all those things. But that, need not be sort of awakened, but still they have got another dimension, something greater. I also quote very often, and there was a famous theologian, he died some years ago, German Christian theologian, Karl Rahner. One of my friends, he's an old man, and so he asked Karl Rahner, Father, he was a priest, Karl Rahner, Father, you believe in God and all those things, but we, scientists, we can't believe in God. How do you see these things? And Karl Rahner said, very nicely, I don't know much about God. He has written volumes on God, but he said, I don't know much about God. I know only there is a reality greater than me. I kneel down before that. And see, and my friend, he said, you see, we need not kneel down, we can bow down. There's a reality greater than me. But and he said, not only reality, there is a reality, a mystery greater than me. You see, I use the word very often, mystery. Mystery means we can't grasp, we can't understand. But Karl Rahner says there is a reality which is a mystery greater than me. But he doesn't say you are also a mystery. Of course, he will understand, but he doesn't say there. You also are a mystery. The self is a mystery. See, not only reality, the self is a mystery. And this dimension, that's what I'm talking about, this dimension you can't grasp. The body, mind, all those things you can study, you can understand. But this other dimension, the dimension of emptiness or mystery or other dimension, you can't understand. You see, here and now we are moving in both levels. What about after physical death? We die. Zen will not say much about that. Zen will say only this: I die, I do not die. Remember, I die, I do not die. I die, of course I die, but also I do not die. What is the dimension in which we can say I do not die? We can't say that. Simply leave that, you see, leave that. And so, but there's a sense I do not die. But at the same time, we must realize I die. You see, we must move in both the levels. The dimension I do not die, here and now we can sort of experience, feel and know this. Here and now live in that dimension. But after physical death, I do not die, that we can say, but we cannot say much more. Just leave it that. So, very, very briefly this. Secondly, let me say also about, practice. We need to some spiritual practice, but all this practice must help us to live well. That is all, you see. It's not the practice, worship for worship, religion for religion, you see. We must learn how to come home to ourselves, how to live, you see. We are not simply individuals, we are also community. We help each other, we are depending on each other. We must also acknowledge that. At the same time, we must realize to come home to ourselves, to abide in that dimension where I said I do not die, where I said it is emptiness. We must also come to this dimension. It is both individual, but also you must realize it is not simply only for myself. Everybody, it is in that dimension. And so, at the same time, we need sort of support, help, and all those things. And the practices, we must also practice, you must not throw away. You see, religion is important, or spiritualities are important. But don't make absolutes of religion or spiritualities. All these spiritualities, religions have a good side and a negative side. And be careful, but also don't condemn all those things. Some spiritualities are very good, some spiritualities are not that good. So choose a spirituality. At the same time, if you are in a religion, Hinduism or Christianity or Buddhism, they are vast. They have got, many branches, almost opposed to each other almost, you see. And so you must find a way and choose a way which will be helpful. But suppose you are born in that particular way, you can integrate. You can integrate, take other dimensions, borrow from other spiritualities, and then make yourself home in all these things, you see. I talk very often passing over, you see, passing over and coming back. Let me also say this, religions particularly, they are world views. World view means they are different worlds. You see, different meaning, world meanings, different Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism. There are different sects, but still there are, on the whole, different world views. The world views you can't mix. The world view, one world view will sort of interpret everything, other things, in terms of this world view. And so, but you can borrow elements from other things, other ways, and then integrate in your spirituality. So that we can do. But also, passing over means you pass over into another worldview and then experience that and come back to your own. And when you come back, you are not literally bound to this. You are freer and you move in both. At the same time, your home base will be your home base. But you have taken other dimensions, you integrated these. And also you are not blindly enslaved. You are freer, move in both dimensions. And so in practice, you practice Zen, for example, that is very nice, very beautiful. Zen for me is the best way, spirituality. Of course, you have to find your own way. But for me, the Zen is the best way in a sense. But also it depends on the teachers and the schools also, remember, you see. And when you practice Zen, give yourself to this. Of course, you can also practice in a way not fully into Zen. Zen itself gives a sort of allows you. Zen can be fully practiced as Zen, or simply Christian Zen, or simply health Zen, or simply Zen for getting some powers and siddhis. You can practice in many ways, but find your own way. But if you can practice Zen way fully, you must give yourself to Zen way. And also Zen community, there's a community, formal or informal community. Community also is very important in the Zen way. Zen is not simply individualistic way, it's a community way. And so you must also learn how to practice in the community. And community, of course, we can't always come together. But even at a distance, you got a community, you must be aware of this. And because we need support for each other, community and the teachers. And then the community also bound by rituals and a language and practice, all those things. You need all those things. And so you must not forget completely the community and the practice and the rituals. Keep in touch with them. And also the language. Language also is very important. In the Zen language, Zen symbols and so on, simply don't throw away. Learn them and try to understand them and practice, you see. And very briefly. And so let me only read a simple quotation, which actually this is a quotation here. I will see. What do you think is reality? Rinzai asks. Reality is nothing other than the mind reality. You see, mind reality, it's not mind reality. It is a sort of, let us say, true self, something like true self. You see, when you talk about mind reality in Zen, it is the whole universe is the mind reality, so to say. It's not idealism. You see, it's not idealism. It is simply everything is this reality. You see, that is simply means the whole reality is yourself. Yourself is the whole reality. That is the way. What do you think is reality? Reality is nothing other than the mind reality. The mind reality is no definite form. It permeates and runs through the whole universe. It is at this very moment, in this very place, so vividly present. But the minds of the ordinary people are not mature enough to see this. Thus they establish everywhere name and concepts like absolute, holy, enlightenment, and vainly search after reality in these names and letters. O brethren, the mind reality has no definite form. It permeates and runs through the whole universe. In the eye it acts as sight, in the ear it acts as hearing, in the nose it acts as the sense of smell, in the mouth it speaks, in the hand it grasps, in the foot it walks. All these activities are originally nothing but one single spiritual illumination, which diversifies itself in harmonious correspondences. It's because the mind has in this way no definite form of its own that it can so freely act in every form. That simply is, you're talking about the other dimension of ourselves, you see. So I said both the dimensions we move. Mind reality, ordinary life. But we must come back to ordinary life. Ordinary life is the reality finally. Come back to ordinary life. Live your ordinary life. But at the same time, be aware that you are living in the other dimension. I quote a phrase, actually Zen Master said, a Zen Master famously said, before enlightenment, trees are trees, mountains are mountains. During the process of enlightenment, trees are not trees, mountains are not mountains. After enlightenment, trees are trees, mountains are mountains. It's a well-known saying. Before enlightenment, trees are trees, mountains are mountains. That means you are you, I am I. That's no sort of interpenetration, no sort of being with all. You see, everybody is separate, everybody is different. We are individuals. We struggle, and then we are frightened of death, the suffering, and all those things. We want to survive. We want to hold ourselves. So mountains are mountains, trees are trees. We are separate. But during the process of enlightenment, mountains are not mountains, trees are not trees. That is what I was mentioning yesterday also. All what you call the dualities, dualisms, everything disappears in emptiness. You die to yourself, let go everything, and simply only sort of being, just am. That alone is there, nothing else, you see. And then third phase, mountains are mountains, trees are trees. You see, then you come back to I am I, you are you. But the second level is all the time in the third level. It is underneath, so to say. Mountains are not mountains, trees are not trees. And therefore, you are you and I am I. That sense. You come back to yourself, come back to the other, but at the same time you realize this emptiness. You are not you, I am not I. That deep sense you must realize. That sort of sense. So the practice is ordinary life. Come back to ordinary life and become aware all the time. Mountains are not mountains, trees are not trees. At the same time, mountains are mountains, trees are trees. Okay, that much is enough. So realize this story, realize first what is you. Rinzai is talking about the true self, the man of no rank, you see, the ordinary man of no rank, you see, the true man of no rank, he says. That means the original self, original face. How do you realize that? Just, meditate on that, awaken to that dimension. Once you awakened, then you come back to mountains are mountains, trees are trees. Okay. Take Hakuin Senji Sangasasa, page 14.
The song of Zazen.
All beings
By nature are Buddha, as ice by nature is water. Apart from water there is no ice, apart from beings no Buddha. How sad are people who go on here and search for the truth of heart, like someone who gets to water unknown and noticed, like a child who walks on the miles on the poor, wandering through the six worlds, from dark heart to dark heart, lost in the darkness of ignorance. When shall we be free from birth and death? All the stars and Mahayana, it can never be raised